What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life, baby. You already know how it is. So today, guys, I wanted to bring you guys my deck profile for Keter Sanctuary, Apex Ruler, Bastion. Honestly, this deck is one of those decks where you just where you can pick it up, take it to a tournament, and do very well with. And I'm not even joking about that. Like this is a deck where, if you are serious about winning, I would highly suggest that you pick this deck up. It's a very strong deck. I knew this was one of the strongest decks going into the set 1 format. A very simple play style, really strong beatdown strategy, and I would have to say it is very good when it comes to its ability for managing resources. I definitely think it's one of the best decks as far as being able to manage your resources and recoup resources as well. But I'm going to show you guys the deck. Let me know what you guys think. Again, it's a very simple deck, straightforward, but it definitely gets the job done. So starting off with the ride line, I only play Tri-Connect Sorceress because I pulled her and she's hollow. But ride line is fairly simple. Fort, when you ride rooks on top of him, reveal 2 grade 3s, call the top card of your deck. Depending on what you call, it could and where your damage is at and whatnot, it can really shape up the game into, in your favor. You have rooks. When you ride on top of him, reveal 3 grade 3s and you draw a card. Again, just simple draw, but that's really it. And then Bastion. Now Bastion is, to me, one of the strongest deck, if not the strongest deck in the format, going first. And the reason why I say that is because he gives all of your grade 3s plus 2,000 power. So while your opponent's sitting at a 10k grade 2, you're swinging at him from multiple stacks of 15. Now, depending on how you throw your hand out, whatever it is, you can be putting on pressure on your opponent, swinging for like 20 with Alden, 15 with Facade, forcing them not being able to drop a 5k, to intercept, to block a card. They're going to have to commit their 15k shields or eat a lot of damage. And, again, playing against this deck in tournaments, using with this deck, going first in this deck, you can really put your opponent at that 3 to 4 damage range fairly easy, just because of how aggressive this deck is coming out of the gate. So and then his other ability is that when you drive check a grade 3, which we play a lot of, you get to choose one of your rear guards, stand it, and it gets 10,000 power for just discarding a card after you check the grade 3. It's honestly a really strong skill, and again, creates 4 attacks in a turn, and yeah, it really puts on that pressure. So going into the trigger lineup was fairly simple for me. 7 crit, 4 heal. I'm running 4 draw, and obviously the over trigger. So the trigger lineup, again, you can run what you want. I know that there are more dedicated, I would say, people who really love this deck. This is like their main deck in the format, things like that. I've talked with a good buddy of mine, your friend of the channel, Anton. I know that a lot of people run front triggers. I chose to run draws simply for the fact that I wanted to just have an ability, if I get rushed, to hit a draw trigger to keep drawing into sources. I don't care if I draw into my triggers because that's just added defense. I don't feel like this deck relies on you hitting triggers in order to execute a strong game plan or anything like that. This deck just really beats face with numbers that get increasingly hard to guard against as the game goes on. So that's really what I want to do with the trigger lineup. I may end up cutting a draw and going with a crit just to add in a little bit more aggressiveness to the lineup, but that's what I was going for as far as the trigger lamp. And obviously the over trigger, it lets you gives your rear guards the ability to perform drive checks. So if you hit this while you're on Bastion and you got 2 grade 3s attacking after him, then that means that you get about 6 drive checks in that turn. It's nasty. Going into the next one, we got perfect guards. You got to run 4. This is the perfect guard from the set, where if you when you put it in the guardian circle, if you had you know, basically basically if your hand has 2 or more cards, you choose a card to discard it. But if not, if you use this card, you could just 1 card guard it. If this was like the second card in your hand, second to last in your hand. I like these new perfect guards. I think they're really strong, and I can't see myself going back to the other ones. Rest of the grade 3s. So we're going in grade 3s rather. 2 copies of Solaria, Big Snake Witch Solaria, and 2 copies of Downswinging Sword Judgment. Solaria is a card where when you discard her, you get to Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. Again, this deck is very good with resource management, and this card is a card where you can discard her while you're going up your ride line, and you can, you know, draw a card, so you can start seeing more pieces, drawing into more defense, things like that. The Downswing Sword of Judgment card, I wanted to personally add that in because you guys know me. I'm a tempo guy. I like a little bit of control, you know, removal with my decks. And this card is removal. You Soul Blast a grade 3, and you basically bottom deck a column. Choose a rear guard, bottom deck, you know, the whole column. Again, playing against Verena, playing against certain things that I just need to get rid of those types of rear guards, I wanted to add a little bit of control to it. Plus, I'm soul charging my grade 3s a lot anyways, so I didn't think that this was a bad inclusion as a 2 of in the deck. But let me know what you guys think about it. And then, going into the rest of the grade 3s, really when the spice turns up here is Darkstrain Dragon. Darkstrain gives, for Soul Blast 2, gives all your grade 3s that are currently on the board boost. Cocobell, the actual analyst, basically she gets 5,000 shield, including herself, for every 2 grade 3s on your board. So, including herself in the Guardian Circle, if you just have a front row, which a lot of times you'll find you just having a front row of 3s, she's a 10k shield. You know, that's just solid shielding overall. But you play her for the shielding. And then we play 4 copies of Reflute. So he just goes into Soul and gives, choose one of your rear guards, gives it 10,000 power. Again, he's a grade 3, goes in Soul, so it sets up Downswinging Sword of Judgment, sets up the Soul for Darkstrain. He gives something 10,000 power, so you're hitting, you know, a lot of times that just puts you up to a base of 25. Especially you put that like on a Fasado, if you need those resources to recoup, or you put it on a Alden, he's hitting for 30k. I mean, it's just, I think this is just a staple 4 of, really strong card. Yeah, very, very strong card there. And then last but not least, obviously we got Fasado. If he hits, counter charge 1, soul charge 1. And the other thing is, I think he's one of the first resist units that we got introduced to the game, where he cannot be chosen by opponent's card effects. So your opponent can't use certain things to retire him. They can't choose him as a card to send to the bottom of the deck or bounce or anything like that. So this card definitely has resist. This is a card where your opponent, you know, unless they have a card that doesn't really target as far as removal is concerned, they're going to be forced to attack it, and then you get the opportunity to protect him, which is really cool. Then we have my favorite card in the deck, which is Alden. He's literally a pot of greed. When you call him to the board, you Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1, call a card, and if the card you called was a grade 3, then you get to draw 2 cards. Again, the Counterblast 2, this guy gives you Counterblast all game. You don't really use your, you know, Solaria is, yes, she uses 1 Counterblast, but that's it. Nothing else in this deck uses Counterblasts like that. So this guy generally has free reign over your Counterblast for the entirety of the game. I mean, that's great. And then he is a static, he gets 5k by just existing on the board with 2 other grade 3s, your Vanguard and something else. He just gets 5k, so he's a 20k beater. He gets huge. He's your best overall beater and attacker, and he's just part of that strategy that, man, I just hit hard. But yeah, really good. And the reason why I say he's 20k because Bastion gives the entire front row 2,000 power, as we went over, and as he is the last grade 3 we need for the Persona Ride mechanic. But that is the deck profile, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, this deck is extremely powerful. It's definitely one of going to be the more popular decks in the meta. And it's one of the decks I believe that you can't go wrong with owning, picking up, and continuously practicing against. Alright, Cardfight King, Aqua Life baby, and we're out. Peace.